Bom dia a todos. É para mim uma honra estar num painel destes, nesta época em que a mobilidade é provocadora de tantas transformações. Estar num painel com entidades especialistas nesta área é de facto um prazer, e ainda mais com uma audiência qualificada como a que tem. É um facto para todos aqui presentes que, neste momento, a mobilidade está a transformar as nossas vidas. É um facto que está, inclusivamente, a mudar alguns paradigmas fundamentais na nossa vida. Um dos fatores que falamos sempre é que, neste momento, o nosso instrumento de trabalho confunde-se com o nosso, é o mesmo, provavelmente, com o nosso instrumento pessoal de organização da nossa vida, e a única diferença é que na nossa vida pessoal temos a questão da privacidade e na nossa organização de trabalho temos a questão da segurança. Isto são paradigmas que mudam muito a nossa vida e que influenciam não só o negócio como a nossa vida pessoal. Este ano também é um ano muito significativo em termos de estudos e as grandes empresas nesta área, como a Marketeer, etc., têm dado grandes pontos nesta área. Um dos acontecimentos que marca também o atingimento, digamos assim, da maturidade da mobilidade tem a ver com... Este foi o primeiro ano no Reino Unido em que, a nível dos adultos, pela primeira vez, a maioria das pessoas passa mais tempo a ver televisão nos meios digitais do que na televisão. E isto pode às vezes parecer um simples facto, mas é uma questão muito importante. E depois, obviamente, que acrescentamos aqui a questão das comunicações e largura de banda e tudo isso que afeta e contribui para este paradigma da mobilidade. Eu não me queria demorar muito, aliás, eu tenho a tendência para falar muito, portanto tenho de me controlar, tenho a indicação que tem de ser uma moderação muito light e que não posso exceder os 5 minutos, ali na linha do Rui Marques com os 10 minutos, e, portanto, passava já à apresentação dos meus convidados. O Chris Beibeod, portanto, é diretor da Europa e Médio Oriente da Mobile Marketing Association, já aqui falado. O Mark Schellenor, CEO da Media Futures, uma empresa de consultoria na área de mobile marketing e com grande experiência na área do mídia digital e que acompanhou a transição da impressão para o digital em grandes meios a nível do Reino Unido. E o João Pinto Gonçalves, Head of Research na Unidade de Tecnologia, Mídia e Comunicações da Deloitte, que vos vão falar deste tema que eu sou suspeito, mas considero muito interessante. E sem mais demoras, passo ao Chris Beibeod. Já agora, no final, temos um painel de questões, onde eu penso que seria muito importante, porque esta é uma área de tendências, e seria muito importante fazerem algumas questões naquilo que acharem que este painel não responde. Obrigado.
Good morning. Good morning. You have to forgive me, I do not speak any Portuguese. I'm from England, but we do have something in common. Both our football teams didn't get out of the group stages at the World Cup. So from a football theme, there was a manager of an English football team called Liverpool who said that football is not a matter of life or death, it's much more important than that. And I'd like to take that and substitute the word mobile for football, because we believe at the MMA that mobile is more than a matter of life or death and much more important. And so, although I'm in the media insight and trends section, I actually think the conversation that I'd like to have with you today is more around this. What do you mean you're not big in mobile yet? It's that important. Do you not care about your business or your career? So here's a question for you. Do you wish you discovered oil? The answer's got to be yes, eh? It's got to be, way back. The guy who actually discovered oil is little known, a guy called Henry Flagler, who earned a return on his investment of over 700 times. I think he lent a lot of money to the Rockefeller, who's a person we probably know. But that opportunity is still around today. And let me ask you all a question here. Of these 4 companies, who would have invested, if you had to choose just one for the greatest return, who would have gone for Amazon? A few hands up. Amazon, 2, 3, 4, 5. eBay, since they went to IPO? No one. Google? Lots, yeah. Yahoo? None. Oh. Okay, so the answer is, if you'd invested $1,000 in their IPO, Amazon today would have given you a $240,000 return. Amazing, isn't it? So the world is still full of opportunities, and history still has a lot of opportunities. Let me just share one with you now.
What are you going to do now?
I was going to go upstairs for a minute.
Oh, I meant with your future, your life.
Well, that's a little hard to say.
Ben.
Excuse me. Mr. McGuire.
Ben.
Mr. McGuire.
Come with me for a minute. I want to talk to you. Excuse us, Joanne.
Of course.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, he is It's just incredible. I look at him and I can't believe it.
Just going to hold it there. Do people know what's happening? This is from The Graduate, and this is Dustin Hoffman. Everybody's nodding, yeah. This is Dustin Hoffman, and he's been a bit of a naughty boy. Yeah, okay. Good. Just wanted to be sure.
I just want to say one word to you. Just one word.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Plastics.
Exactly how do you mean?
There's a great future in plastics. Think about it. Will you think about it?
Yes, I will.
Enough said. That's a deal.
Okay. So, today we believe that opportunity is not plastics, it's really around mobile. And if you look at this data from Morgan Stanley, that the winners of each new cycle often create more market capitalization than the winners of prior cycles. Mini computers, PCs, desktop internet, and we believe mobile will be the next on that journey. But the thing is about mobile, although I'm going to talk a little bit about mobile and marketing and mobile advertising, mobile actually can very much change the world. I'd like to show you a clip now of where mobile's been used for significant good.
The Microloan Foundation is a charity that lends money to some of the poorest women in Africa to help them to set up their own small businesses. Our campaign is called Pennies for Life. And this year, we staged a unique live event. We created unfinished portraits of African women, made entirely of pennies, and put them on a digital poster site. Then we invited people to complete the pictures by texting a donation to the poster. As soon as the message arrived, the donor got a personal thank you. Then their money dropped into place on the screen. The more texts we got, the faster the picture built. Until we had enough money to make one business loan to one woman in Africa. Then we built another one, and another one. Each donor also got a credit on our microsite, where all the portraits were displayed. It was a live, interactive demonstration of small change creating big change for women in Africa. And from one poster in one shopping centre in its first weekend, 21 women who had nothing now have their own small businesses.
So 21 women who had nothing now have their own small business based on the use of mobile technology. So, for those who didn't know, actually, I'm Chris Babiodi. I'm the Managing Director EMEA for the MMA. And the MMA recently has relaunched itself, and we work with the MMA here in Portugal through ASEPI. And I just, again, rather than me talk about a little bit about our mission and everything else, I've just got another little video to give you some insight into what the MMA, the Mobile Marketing Association, is focused on, what our mission is and our strategies. Okay, so the MMA, in case you didn't see it, our mission there, it's really about transformation, the innovation of marketing through mobile. Marketing in its broadest sense, driving both business growth, because actually mobile, tablet, phones, smartphones, feature phones get you closer to the consumer. And the strategic priorities we've got, what are we looking to do to help the mobile economy? We're looking at demonstrating impact, proving effectiveness and output and optimizing impact through research, cultivating inspiration and innovation, best practices, and building capability, confidence, and know-how. So given that's where our focus is, I suppose one of the questions is it the year of mobile? Is it the decade of mobile? Is the time right? Is mobile here and now? And we think actually three things need to come together in order to answer that question. One is about what are consumers doing? The other is what about marketeers and advertisers? And the other about is there something about mobile that is unique and gives it a really strong position? So without going through the charts in major detail, the key takeout from here is that by 2017, nearly 70% of the worldwide population will have a mobile phone, whether it's a smartphone or a feature phone. 7 out of 10 worldwide. And there's actually a further shift in consumer behavior because the phone is being used to access the World Wide Web and the internet. And actually, if you look in Asia and Africa there's greater growth actually in those emerging markets than there is in some of the more established markets. So, consumer behavior, we're all using phones, whatever size, age, or profile that you are.
Beth Ann, 3,000 texts last month.
NWRUS?
That wasn't a compliment. Sean, 1,000 texts?
UGH.
And you're old enough to know better.
MYOB, will you?
Grandma.
Mom, who could you be texting?
IDK, my BFF Rose.
Now get a texting plan the whole family can NJOY.
So, we're using mobile phones. What about marketers? We did a survey at the MMA at the end of last year to ask marketers some questions about mobile and mobile marketing and advertising. And 76% agreed that mobile got you closer to the consumer. 68% that it was the best way to transform your business model. 72% that it can build ROI effectively. And 80%, most importantly, said it can improve their career by understanding and having knowledge. And again, in the same survey, there were significant numbers talking about increasing their investment into mobile. 68% would do it in mobile marketing, and 67% growth in terms of asset creation and creativity for mobile. Over and above that, what's happening in sort of trends in terms of advertising spend? eMarketer suggests here that the market of $31 billion this year will rise threefold into 2018. Growing at, and Western Europe's share of that will sort of plateau at 23%. And therefore, the year-on-year growth would show that in Western Europe this year, it's up 86%, 74% worldwide. And although that growth will slow down, there will be significant growth. So I think really that the marketeer adoption's there, the consumer behavior is there, but does it have a uniqueness in the marketplace that sets it apart from other channels to market? Obviously, working at the Mobile Marketing Association, we believe it does.
I can watch live TV on my new Sprint phone.
Well, my Sprint phone has TV and downloads music.
I can check email.
I have that. And crime deterrent.
What?
Try and take my wallet.
Give me your...
Live TV, wireless music downloads, email, and crime deterrent.
I'm filing a grievance, Ben.
So, pretty unique, I'd say.
I can watch live TV on my new Sprint phone.
Whoop. There we go. Okay, so it does really more seriously have a unique positioning. I'm sure you've all seen this photo here, but our belief is that it's the device, it's the way to get you closer to your consumer. And if you're closer to your consumer, that has significant effect on your business model, your commercial model, and your advertising models. Put another way, it's supported by real value, be it personal. I bet you if we put all our phones up that we've got on us today and looked at the app allocation, no one would have the same. It's personal to what you're interested in and what you do. It's pervasive and it's close. It's always there. Yeah? A lot of people said that they would, I think there was some piece of research that we did that someone would rather lose an arm than lose their mobile phone or something. So don't know how quite that worked, because you need your arms to use your phone. But anyway, so we've got this situation, consumer behavior, we've got marketeer adoption, we believe we've got a USP. However, the reality is there is a difference between marketeer replying to surveys and marketeers what they actually do. So we asked our marketers again, what is one of the barriers to getting involved with mobile as an advertising channel? And they came up, 47% said it was difficult to measure, 46% said it was quite tight on budgets because we've got other channels that we wanted to use. And given this information, we thought, well, we the MMA, we need to come up with an answer. We need to come up to something to help everybody, wherever they may be. And that was really a compelling, fact-based, irrefutable piece of analysis that can demonstrate the return on investment of marketing spend using mobile as a channel. So we've just launched these results in the last couple of weeks or so, and I'd like to share them with you today here. We have a proprietary research called SMOCS-Me. Rolls off the tongue, but what it actually means is Smart Mobile Cross-Marketing Effectiveness Studies. And the goal and objective of SMOCS is actually to understand what is the optimal share of an advertising campaign that should go into the mobile channel. So the case study I'd like to share with you is from AT&T, the US telecom mobile operator. They wanted to launch a new phone called the Moto X earlier this year. And just to give you some insight, I'll just show you one of their ads that they used as part of their marketing campaign.
Okay, Google now. Note to self. Buy more coffee.
Saving note.
Okay, Google now. Wake me up in 20 minutes.
Setting alarm.
Show the one, because I'm not advertising them. And they also ran this in print with a sort of multimedia campaign. So what was their key objective? The key objective of the campaign was to build awareness of the phone because it was a new device coming out of AT&T. That was their core KPI. And they did that with a campaign that was primarily on TV. In fact, primarily it's 92%. Of them advertising was on television, 1% is on print, 5% on online, and 1% of that budget was on mobile display advertising. And this is what we saw, really. Mobile delivered twice the impact per dollar versus TV. And just to explain this chart a bit, the premise of SMOCS and what we see here is there's a piece of research that is able to demonstrate that when you use another media channel, when you start to get diminishing returns for your additional euro, dollar, pound investment, if you were to invest that in another channel, you will then reach different people and more of them. And that's what that is demonstrating. And in this instance, as I said, it was double the impact versus television. And then as we got through all the analysis and all the data, what we found is the optimal mobile share for this campaign would have been 16%. As opposed to the 1% into the mobile channel. And what does that mean in terms of budget, and what does that mean for the client? Well, actually, that 16% going into mobile wasn't more budget. It didn't need to be more budget, because actually the key finding we found was that with the same budget, that advertiser would have got better results. There was an incremental, in this campaign, reach of people of 2.5 million. This was done in the US, so 2.5 million, obviously relative to the country size, but 2.5 million is about the population of somewhere like Chicago, downtown Chicago. So same budget, better results. But actually just a bit more analysis showed us that if they had targeted men relative to women, because men seem to adopt to it more, there was 70% more impact in men than women, and if they'd used banner size A, slightly bigger banner than size B, yeah, and therefore cut out some of the less performing ads, that double that 2 times would have actually gone to 2.5 times. In the MMA, we're looking to run some more of these studies within the US, within the UK, and we're also looking at it in Turkey. And in Turkey, we're looking at it from a messaging perspective. These were done on display advertising. So we believe, and again, happy to share these results with people in the room if you want more information and more questions. So we believe actually that working through the MMA and looking from a marketing and advertising perspective, there is an opportunity for marketeers to overcome some of those barriers. Same budget, more people. The final thing I'd just like to say as I come towards the end of my time, one other piece of information we have at the MMA, we have what we call a mobile knowledge centre. In here we have 450, I'll say that again, 450 case studies that are best-in-class usage of mobile marketing and mobile advertising. They're from around the world, and they've got different objectives, whether it's brand awareness, purchase intent, or a launch. And the idea is that this is there to help innovation, to help inspire, and also to answer the question of like, well, what do I do? How do I do it? What happened, etc. And each and every one of these cases show the results of the case study that was in place. I'm going to share one with you now. It ran in Portugal. It ran in France, Germany. For Seat, Seat was known as a younger person's car. They wanted to position it within a family car. And so what they wanted to do was to entice families to come and drive the car and test drive. They couldn't get everybody into forecourts. They actually built a mobile channel, a mobile site, which gave you the experience of driving the car and showing some of the features of the car. So I'll just play a little bit of this now. And this is available. You can go onto our website and find these and many, many others. So let me just play that. Mobile's bringing all the features, car and drive, and the experience to life. And again, as I'm not advertising Fiat, Seat even, I'll stop it there, and I'll just take you there to the results. 800,000 people have visited the mobile site. So, as I come to the end, I just got to ask you for 3 actions from this. 1, each and every one of you, feel free to contact me at the MMA. My details are here. Secondly, please do visit our Mobile Knowledge Centre, our site, and look at those case studies and contact me. And 3, let's go find some oil. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I think you suggest some questions for the finish. Okay, Mark.
Good morning. A mobile-centric world is rapidly becoming a reality. The combination of convenience and instant access to relevant content means consumers' dependency on their mobile devices to manage their daily lives has increased dramatically. And that's the result of the convergence of powerful technology, improved connectivity, data analytics, and innovative and more intuitive user solutions. Thus, it's critical for businesses to focus on all their efforts on where the real growth exists and when deciding how to develop their mobile capabilities. And that means designing a mobile strategy with the customer at its core. This is a phrase which has been used quite a lot in the past. Where the eyeballs go, that's where the money goes ultimately. And it's so true. I'll add my own little take on that at the end of this presentation. But this is me. I have 2 hats. One is the first one of Media Futures, where I actually consult with Mainly media companies around the world have taken them from the print to the digital age. But also other things such as music companies or music bands like Metallica. Any fans of those guys? I was in the mud in Glastonbury watching last weekend. And also the Oscars. And it's amazing. I'll just give you a quick aside. The Oscars, would you believe, there are 250,000 people in Hollywood who vote on the Oscars. 250,000. Most of them, how they vote is they fill in a form with a pen and send it off in the mail. Can you believe that? Most of them have never seen the film, by the way. Anyway, we're going to change that next year with the use of an app, but that's another story. Anyway, the second hat is Inmar, and the two go hand in hand. I'll explain what Inmar is in a second. Firstly, I bring you greetings from my hometown, which is Liverpool, and we're back in the Champions League next year, which is great. We are a team with bite, as you've probably seen already. Well, for how much longer, we'll have to wait and see. Barcelona might have something to say about that. There's also famous Liverpool for this bunch of guys, so I hope you understand my Paul McCartney accent. So I'm going to talk to you today about the relevance for all of us around the future of newspapers, which is the world that I'm immersed in, and the rise of the connected device. It affects us all. So what I'm going to really talk about is reacting to a changing environment, content consumption on mobile platforms, and the redesigning of all our revenue models. A little bit about this association I mentioned. It's a non-profit organization, and it's an idea sharing network for news media companies around the world. And its mission is about sharing ideas and inspiring change. And it's substantial. There's over 6,000 people involved, 81 different countries. So it's substantial, including Portugal. And if you have a look at this later, there's a website, and I host a mobile and tablets blog on there, which is open to anyone. And a lot of the major, big contributors to mobile across Europe contribute to that blog, so you can check it out later. But its current priorities of the organization are all about this print-to-digital transformation, the culture change that goes with that. It has to come from the top. The new revenue and payment models, and the mobile and smartphone tablet opportunities. You see, I picked just this chart to show you that, you see, this is typical of the world today in terms of people consuming media or print media. There's a downward trend of less people buying print. However, and I picked just one example from the Inma family, and this is one of the major media powerhouses in Europe, Schibsted. They actually reach more people today than they ever did before because they're investing in other platforms, especially things like mobile. But certainly the news industry is about extinction or reinvention, and that's what it's about now. It's about reinventing itself. In fact, users are consuming more content than ever before. Digital consumers read more newspapers, and books for that matter, every year, on average, than their print-only counterparts. Over 60% of smartphone and tablet owners access news on their devices. And mobile video consumption experiencing rapid growth. But this is the world I've come from. I've spent 4 years with the Daily Telegraph, which is this thing here, over the past 4 years, starting off the whole mobile journey of going with tablets and mobile offerings. And I'll refer to some of that as I go through here. What they've realized, of course, is people are consuming content across different platforms at different points of the day, and they all have their own importance. The need is to have content that's of value, that's relevant, and this is not rocket science, but it's amazing how many people just don't get this, and how we move for the news media, how we move for the print to the print plus digital world, and that's increasingly on mobile devices. The organization I mentioned brought out a report last year which looks at where media will be in, say, 4 or 5 years' time, and what the environment is around it. And the issues covered in the report are the amazing times that we now live in, the exponential times of the amount of stuff that we are bombarded with, the revenue opportunities that go with that, the new media strategies, and this transformational mobile moment. We are indeed at a special moment in history. But we do need to understand the environment which affects us all. You see, I think we started off life in an era of mass media. So we had things like television, magazines, radio, newspapers. We talked to the forest. Then we moved to an era where, more of niche media, we talked to the trees in the forest through things like local newspapers, cable TV, niche magazines, etc. And I guess where we are now is an era of micromedia where we talk to the leaves on the trees in the forest. And that's through things like email, podcasts, VOD, blogs, and mobile, of course. And guess what? Those leaves talk to each other through things like social networks. So we are entering this era of times that we've never seen before. There's a book I've referred to you, which is called Abundance, The Future's Better Than You Think. It's a great read, and it talks about how technology, and increasingly mobile technology, is about to change our lives in this era of abundance. And it's going to change our expectations about what we think about our wealth, our education, our quality of life, and our health. I just picked 3 or 4 examples of my own on the shelf today. Health tracking scales linked to my mobile. Smart baby monitors. Blood pressure monitors. These are products my parents would never have dreamed of seeing on the shelf. And we would never have seen these 4 or 5 years ago. The world's changing fast. I was in the States last week, and I just took this screen grab of how hospitals are using smart technology to send case studies for patients and remedies across the state to save them having to travel lots of miles. And this is all being brought about by this overused phrase, maybe, of the big data era. And again, I'll just refer to that in a few minutes. Well, much will change over the next few years. We are going to see a much more mobile-dominant society with a lot more powerful, a lot more cheaper devices. Ubiquitous Wi-Fi everywhere, not just in your local Starbucks. And technology will drive the distribution costs down, which brings better access for everyone. And there'll be high-definition screens everywhere, on your mobile, at home, in your car. These are all things we should be getting our heads around now, not to necessarily understand the nitty-gritty, but understand the concept that people will consume content in different ways. And are these opportunities for us? Question. Is this what the new iWatch will look like? Someone in San Francisco last week in the Apple Store confirmed we're going to see this Q3 this year. Is this a new opportunity for us? How will people take to wearable technologies? The market for wearable devices will more than triple to about $30 billion by 2018. That's according to IHS Global Insights. And what do we think about this? I could talk for hours about this, actually. Not necessarily the baby, but Google Glass. We all know what this is. It's a little pair of glasses with a little screen on you can see as you go through life. And the New York Times, Guardian, Washington Post, all have apps on this already. Now, there's a lot to say about this, and the Google Glasses we see it today is just the first iteration. And the one that comes out later this year will be the first iteration. So it's not going to end up looking like this, but it's the whole point. It's about wearable technologies. And I think Deloitte, it's good to see Deloitte here. I heard a presentation from them talking about the mass niche, that although everybody says, I wouldn't want one of those, well, it's estimated that 21 million of these things will be sold by 2018 in a market of 130 million of wearable devices of some description. It takes a while to catch on. Henry Ford, when he invented the car, if he'd said to people, what do you want? They'd have said faster horses. It doesn't mean to say that people say, I don't want these things. It doesn't mean they won't buy them. Everyone would have said that about the iPhone probably 10 years ago. Where I think the big change for is in broadcast media. So imagine 2 Olympics from now, in about 6 or 8 years' time. Say 1 million people go to the Olympics wearing something which has got live streaming video. What does that mean for broadcast media? What does that mean for the people with the rights? If I go to watch my beloved team and I'm wearing something which I can stream live video and show the match live around the world straight from my seat in the stadium, what does that mean for the likes of Sky Sports who are paying a fortune to have the right to this? There's big implications. Anyway, I don't have time to go into it today, but what I would say is I want to show you a little video of how men might use Google Glass. So imagine you've gone on a first date with a lady. This is how you might use it.
So Jennifer Swanson. Google Jennifer Swanson. That's a lovely name. Do you like dogs?
I do. How did you know that?
Lucky guess.
And then he said, that's the difference between a Doberman and a Pomeranian.
It's hilarious. Okay, let's take a picture.
Okay, if there's one thing everybody loves, it's Downton Abbey.
Oh, I love Downtown Abbey. I especially love the one chick, Countess Violet Crowley.
Crowley.
Yes,
Yeah.
her. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's quite the sharp tongue.
Yeah. Did you know that that role was written for her? And by her, I mean actress Maggie Smith.
Wow, we have so much in common.
We really do.
Hey, well, we shall see. But one thing I would say, don't ignore it. If anyone can see this This is a patent from Google. They have patented the Google Glass contact lens. It has a built-in camera, and you can wear it in your eye, and no one will know you're wearing it. Anyway, just to scare you a little bit. I'd also just like to read you a little quote from this is the Daily Telegraph's technology writer, who said, "I confidently predict that we will all be wearing our mobile devices as fashion items rather than carrying them in our pockets. And then I fancy that my favorite app is going to be one of artificial intelligence, an aid that will instantly answer my every query while managing functions such as my diary, travel, messages, calls, contacts, payments, and the 76 plastic cards currently in my wallet that cause even more physical discomfort than my mobile phone. Best of all, it will find things relevant," keyword relevant again, "to my work and life. Today I carry my phone in my pocket. Tomorrow I'll be wearing it. But will there come a point where mobile technology is so intelligent it'll be wearing me?" Think about it. At the moment you take the dog out for a walk because you're its master, the more intelligent and capable being. Smarter mobile phones and artificial intelligence apps will maybe redress that balance. Well, we'll see. But it's an interesting take. Anyway, back to my report from the association. And this is what media, it says, will look like. And this is the results of experts from all over the world who have contributed to the media industry. And what it's basically saying that many national and local days will generally be okay. Some of the metros around the world will struggle because they can't afford the business model anymore. And some print magazines, in their words, will crumble. And I'm going to read you why and why that's important to you. This is from the actual report. The reason why it says that is because the tablet will become the most transformational and destructive device that will enter the industry. Mix the device with the soon-to-becoming ubiquitous HD Wi-Fi, as we said earlier, and it will, for the first time, actually kill off some forms of traditional media. Some metro daily print newspapers and some magazines will, in the next 5 years, disappear. The economics won't support it, and a better experience will emerge for consumers. A stronger relationship between our phones and tablets will begin to emerge. Tablets will graphically become more beautiful. Our core operating system will move to the handheld device. Our information will move to the cloud. And our phone will have a ubiquitous, seamless, and connected relationship to the screens around us. It doesn't mean to say these brands will go away. The opposite. It will kill off the print editions of some publications. And the report goes into things like the pressure on local TV with the streaming of video and the radio becoming more niched and more fragmented. And print just becoming another, but still an important screen and part of the mix. You see, in my world, there are lots of different ways to market and different routes, but they all have different assets and importance. Whether it's the shutting out the world and the tangibility and the heritage of a print newspaper, to the website is getting easy information, getting it quick and sharing with friends, to the mobile app or the mobile site about news in your pocket, getting a filler for your day maybe, or the tablet, which is the laid-back, beautiful, curated experience, and a second screen for most. And when I say second screen for most, this is a typical day from the Daily Telegraph in London of how people consume content across the day on different platforms. You can see each one is important. They all have their place to play. Interestingly, if you look at the iPad, this is a detailed version of the iPad, people use it to finish off what they've read during the day, and they read it in bed. 72% of men and 80% of women said they read the Telegraph or iPad in bed. I'm not really sure what it says about the sexual health of the nation, but there we go. They do. And we just need to understand how people consume content and in what context they're doing so to make it relevant. This is a survey which has just come out from Newsworks in the UK. This is the body representing the UK national newspaper industry. And this is important for you guys too. If you're advertising in this space, responses to tablet ads are 40 times more higher than online. The results show that the average tap rate, the interaction with a tablet ad, is 0.79%, with up to 40 times greater than the average online display click-through rate. Consumers are also spending an average of 7 seconds with tablet ads. This was tracked across 20 campaigns across 5 key sectors: motors, retail and travel, finance, technology, entertainment, between October and December last year. And what they actually found was that text links drive strong tap rates when the link's clearly signposted. Video delivers a powerful combination of both tap rate and dwell time. And interactive ads engage readers so much more with considerably longer than average dwell times. So it's true that mobile devices are changing all our audiences. The opportunities are there now, you see. They weren't there 2 or 3 years ago. There are more people waking up to. There's more awareness, more questions. The rise of the smartphone makes all things a lot easier. This long-term evolution, the increase in bandwidth makes things a lot faster, quicker. Better case studies, better metrics, better content, and better advertising opportunities. You see, my report says that there's going to be a rapid closing the gap between the 86% of the world today with a mobile device of some description to the 33%, from the 33% of the world with an internet-connected device. Half the population of the planet will connect to the internet by mobile by 2020. And most publishers are saying that half of their digital content will be consumed by mobile within the next year or so. If we can get the mobile and social thing right, then that will increase and accelerate the rapid engagement. So what do advertisers want in all of this? Well, what they want is they want to go from pure reach to quality reach. They want target-rich environment. They want content with high engagement level. They want substantial purchase intention. And they want relevant, there's that word again, relevant data with actionable audiences. I don't normally put slides up like this in presentations, but this one I am because it's really substantial. This was done by an independent mobile ad network with 15,000 mobile users across all 14 markets across all continents. It's substantial. And this is what they said. 3/4 of survey respondents said they'd been introduced to something new via mobile. 2/3 said it provided with better options. Half had said that mobile advertising had influenced store buying. And another half had said they'd actually made purchases with their mobile. These are powerful stats. Powerful, powerful stats. So that's why we need to embrace the new opportunities, whether it's targeting, which we can do with the mobile handset, targeting by network operator, handset, time of day of week, whether it's creative formats such as finding your nearest, great for supermarkets, of linking to Google Maps, whether that's slideshows, speaks for itself, video banners, whether it's all sorts of rich media ad formats. This is the mobile MPU, which we launched in the UK last year. Whether it's sponsorship and native advertising formats. I could talk for hours on these, but I don't have time today. Mobile video, and of course, mobile location services. And I've got one example I'm going to show you. I was actually working with the newspaper in Guatemala in Central America last year, of all places. I found probably the most creative example I've seen of mobile location-based services. See what you think of this. Ask yourself, what causes this guy here to suddenly react the way he does?
Yeah, in the Nike store, there he is. He's getting the message. There's a promotion for feedback. And thinks, yeah, we got him.
Meatpack is the trendiest shoe store in Guatemala, a brand known for its edgy, cutting style and a store known for its unique discounts in limited edition kicks including brands like Adidas, Nike and Reebok. An icon to the sneakerhead subculture with over 60,000 fans on their fan page in less than a year. They needed to launch a new promotion to live up to their hardcore fans, an innovative way to earn your discount. We created Hijack, an enhancement for the official Meatpack app used by our customers. Using GPS tracking technology that marks every competitor's store of the brand sold at Meatpack, so every time one of our sneakerheads enters one of the stores, it triggers a special notice with a promotion. Hijack sends an alert to the person's mobile with a discount that starts at 99% and decreases by 1% every second that goes by, making the countdown stop until you reach our store. More than 600 customers were hijacked from the competitors in a week. One customer, Pedro Rodriguez, got a record-breaking 89% discount. This is the first promo campaign that started the sale in the competitors' stores.
Now, they can do that in Guatemala, I'm just saying. And I just want to show you one other use of how we've used new technology to bring print and digital together. And this is the use of augmented reality, the scanning of an app which can scan and its image recognition technology. And what we did was we created a version of this newspaper just for advertising agencies. It looked like the Telegraph. It was only 200 copies made, and we gave it to every single copy to an agency person. Inside, it didn't look like the Telegraph because it just had ad sizes, print ads of every size and every description. And if you scanned it, it showed you the digital version of that ad if you were to buy it. And I'll just let this guy tell you exactly what that means.
Which is smartphone or tablet device. And that ensures you get the full experience throughout. If you take our newspaper wrap, that impactful format sells itself. And if you hold your device over it using the Flipper app, you'll be able to see how we can replicate that on the website, increasing your audience by 35% and your online actions by 13%.
So you get the idea. Anyway, the summary to all of this is news media is certainly reinventing itself. It's about flexibility of business models, and that affects everybody in this room. It's about speed of execution, making those decisions around new and mobile technologies. It's going in, like they say in ice hockey, you go where the puck is going to be, not where it is now. We need to go where people will consume us in the future. But there's a sense of urgency. And if you're not on board with all of this, I urge you to do so now. It's about transformation. It's about innovation in any business. It's about adjusting to these exponential times that we've never seen before. But the clock, my friends, is ticking. And that applies to all of us. Enders Analysis said, the brand's best place to capture marketing spend in the future will either have scale, a firm grip of their audience, or be in a strong niche position. Brands with good knowledge of their audience base and where they're going will be particularly well placed. And with that in mind, I'd just like to ask, does anybody know what this is? Well, it's just bits of information. But if you package it in a certain way, you get that. And that's what data is. That's all data is. You know, we can take data. So in our case, what we've been doing is taking from news media all the first-party information we get, things like web registration, competition entrance, blah, 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 adding that to stuff that's out there in the market, adding it to advertising data we can get our hands on, and together we can segment our database to give a really quality audience profiling to our advertisers. And we've created lots of things, brand intenders, bespoke packages, elite parts of our database, based on certain profiles or passions or brand lookalikes based on the database. And mobile here adds this brand new dimension and a precision and context we've not seen before. Data is the holy grail of digital media. Trust me on this. What we need to do is mobilize it, extract it, manipulate it, and then we need to commercialize it. So the conclusions are, there is a news media roadmap to true multimedia content, which is content anytime, any place, anywhere, and that affects us all. News media is about filling the gap of print advertising with new digital and increasingly mobile revenue opportunities, because we know that mobile will be our biggest audience opportunity over the next few years, and I would suggest it's going to be yours too. I started off with that, where the eyeballs go, that's where the money goes to. I'd add my own take to that, and who those eyeballs belong to, how they receive it, plus the time, mindset, and context will become increasingly important, and that's increasingly on a mobile device. If anyone's interested in this, I've got a report from my association which has 19 case studies worldwide of what media companies are doing and monetizing mobile. Just give me a card or write to me on the address on the screen now, and I'll be happy to send you a copy of it. Well, for now, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mark. O João Pinto Gonçalves penso que vai agora complementar estas excelentes apresentações com uma componente que se tem, de facto, entendido aqui, mas não se tem falado muito, que é o que está na base e as comunicações, e penso que vai ser a parte forte da comunicação do João.
Bom dia a todos. Obrigado, João. A minha apresentação foi preparada um bocadinho diferente dos meus colegas de painel. Não vou falar tanto de advertising e de consumidores, vou falar um bocadinho do que está por trás de tudo isto, que no fundo é o contexto do mercado das telecomunicações e de como é que as coisas foram feitas. Estão a ser feitas e quais é que são os problemas das empresas de telecomunicações neste momento. Antes de começar também, agradecer à PDC e à CEP o convite que fizeram à Deloitte e começar então a minha apresentação. Em termos de agenda do flow da minha conversa, digamos assim, não vai ser em inglês, em português, mas no fundo explicar um bocadinho do que é que se está a passar no mercado das telecomunicações mundialmente, perceber quais é que são as tendências baseadas também num estudo que nós, Deloitte, fizemos e lançamos todos os anos do Predictions e que toca em algumas das coisas que o meu colega de painel anterior focou, e também trazer aqui um case study português, no fundo, colocarmos no mercado e no panorama mundial e perceber que também somos dos países mais avançados no que a aplicações, a telecomunicações diz respeito e, no fundo, trazer um bocadinho, em termos de tecnologia, de mobile, o que é que virá a seguir e o que é que teremos de nos preparar. Portanto, o que é que está a acontecer no mundo? Isto é um panorama, uma fotografia do que é que está a passar nestes 5 anos. Desde 2012 até 2017, iremos assistir que, em termos fixos, vamos ter uma quebra de 16% das receitas a nível mundial. Portanto, o telefone fixo está a morrer. A telefonia móvel, ou o móvel, irá atingir os 8 mil milhões de subscritores, mas ainda é um mercado crescente, muito baseado também na África e na Ásia, por isso é que está a crescer, com um incremento ainda e com potencial de receitas na casa dos 19%, e nos dados, que no fundo serão a grande sensação nos próximos anos no mercado das telecomunicações, e perceber como é que as operadoras, tanto as nacionais como as internacionais, deverão agarrar este mercado. As empresas de telecomunicações, o negócio continua a fluir muito bem, continua a crescer, excetuando ali entre os anos 2007 e 2008, todos sabemos porque é que estagnaram, mas continua a crescer. Mas vemos outro fenómeno engraçado, que é, em termos de receitas por cliente, temos tido uma quebra. Esta quebra, desde 2005 até 2013, é quase para metade, o que nos diz também uma coisa, que é o número de clientes está a aumentar todos os dias. Mas o número de receita que eu tenho, eu operador, de cada cliente, também está a diminuir. Este ano é engraçado, vamos assistir também, em termos de utilização de internet em dispositivos móveis, em que vamos assistir à ultrapassagem da utilização da internet nos dispositivos móveis em relação aos nossos portáteis ou aos nossos computadores de casa, coisa que já quase não existe. E também, em termos de vendas mundiais, os PCs e os tablets este ano vão atingir exatamente o mesmo número. Vemos ainda também que as pessoas andam a atrasar a compra de novos computadores por troca de comprar um tablet, e por isso o período de compra de um computador, em que antes poderia ser de 2 em 2 anos, agora estão a atrasar porque, fim desses ano e meio, 2 anos, compram um tablet ou um outro dispositivo móvel com as mesmas características e depois atrasam mais isto. Muito bem. Em termos de tráfego, isto é o panorama que as operadoras móveis estão a assistir. Em termos de tráfego de voz, temos tido uma constância ao longo dos anos, mas em termos de dados, isto está a ser exponencialmente crescente. Isto vai trazer um problema ao nível de redes, que mais à frente vou abordar. Nós construímos este gráfico ilustrando um problema que vai aparecer às operadoras de telecomunicações para poderem sustentar todas as nossas hábitos consumistas do mobile, todos os nossos advertisings, todas as nossas campanhas publicitárias, tudo isto. Que é, o número de clientes vai tender a estagnar, portanto, em termos mundiais, quase toda a gente vai ter um telefone ou um acesso à internet. O número de receitas vai tender a estagnar porque não crescem, portanto, uma das coisas que aprendemos também é que as árvores não crescem até ao céu, por isso há de haver uma paragem a dada altura. Mas o tráfego, como mostrei no gráfico anterior, vai tender a subir e por isso vai elevar os custos, o que vai levar a um problema num futuro próximo às operadoras de telecomunicações bastante grande e complexo. Em termos de tendências, a Deloitte lança, como tinha dito há bocadinho, que todos os anos o Predictions, em que lança cerca de 14, 15 tendências mundiais nos setores da tecnologia, dos mídia e das telecomunicações. Este ano, nós todos os anos temos vindo a subir em termos de accuracy. Este ano atingimos, do ano passado para este ano, 81%, e prevemos que este ano também andaremos aí perto. Em termos de tecnologia, iremos assistir a um fenómeno de um boom dos cursos online, dos wearables, como o antigo colega disse, dos tais óculos da aplicação Google, as salas de estar convergentes, os e-visits, que são aquelas consultas médicas online, e todo um fenómeno de portáteis, de dispositivos móveis que temos. Nós, num estudo que fizemos, só para vos darem uma ideia, em Portugal, cada português detém cerca de 8 dispositivos móveis por pessoa. O que é entre portáteis, entre telefones, entre smartphones, entre tablets, entre máquinas fotográficas. Por isso, somos dos países do mundo com maior taxa ou com maior número de dispositivos móveis. Em termos de mídia, vamos assistir também a alguns fenómenos no próximo ano, isto prevemos nós, como é óbvio, em termos de direitos de autor, portanto, tanto de música como de desporto. Ver desporto vai ficar mais caro. A nível de medição de audiências também vamos assistir a uma mudança na mentalidade. Vamos assistir também a um maior aumento de vídeo on demand em África, principalmente. Portanto, está a ser instalada uma série de satélites para poderem entregar televisão por toda a África. E também vamos assistir ao fenómeno do All Pay TV, que no fundo, em nossa casa, deixaremos de ter só, passo a publicidade, um Mel ou um Nós ou um Vodafone, mas vamos ter também um Netflix e outras assim do género. No que a telecomunicações também diz respeito, os telefones ou os tablets vão ficar maiores. Vamos assistir também a uma robustez destes nossos terminais, ou seja, vão ficar mais resistentes, não se vão partir tão facilmente como os nossos iPhones ou os nossos Samsungs ou por aí usam. E também um outro fenómeno que entendemos que vai aparecer, que é o aumento das aplicações para pessoas com mais de 55 anos. Coisa que existe um gap no mercado, existe muita falta de aplicações para mais de 55 anos. E depois também o fenómeno das SMS e dos Instant Messaging, que é aquilo que eu vou-vos mostrar também e gostava de trazer o conhecimento que temos também do mercado português. Em termos mundiais, são mandadas 25 mil milhões de SMS por dia. Metade do volume, neste momento, de Instant Messaging. Os WhatsApps da vida, os Messengers e tudo mais. Mas existe também aqui um problema, é que as mensagens geram 72 bis, quase 73 de receitas, e as Instant Messaging só geram 1,5. O fenómeno das SMS está a crescer, está a acabar. É um produto ou um serviço das operadoras que nasceu um bocadinho sem saberem como, utilizando banda que não era utilizada e que apareceu e depois foi exponencial. Isto é o número de SMS que estão enviadas anualmente. Este ano ainda estamos a crescer, mas a partir de 2016 prevemos que começa a crescer. Aqui este gráfico espelha um bocadinho a realidade do fenómeno das SMS com os Instant Messaging. O ano passado já foi um ano em que estavam muito iguais. Este ano já vamos assistir a um aumento substancial das Instant Messaging. Mas em Portugal, o tratamento deste tema foi feito bastante há uns anos, em 2005, quando começámos a oferecer o pacote de SMS ilimitados. Aí, como este gráfico também mostra, nós em média por trimestre mandamos 39 mensagens, pelo menos em 2002, com um total de 460 milhões. Neste momento mandamos uma média de 318 mensagens também por trimestre, com um total quase de 7 mil milhões de mensagens por trimestre. Mas voltando um bocadinho atrás, em 2005 assistimos então aqueles pacotes de SMS ilimitados. O que foi banalizar nos nossos hábitos de consumo em Portugal. As SMS, como era grátis, mandávamos a toda a gente e veio crescendo. Em Espanha eles tiveram o tratamento ao contrário. No fundo, eles nunca ofereceram pacotes de SMS, portanto todas as SMS são pagas, o que fez com que, com o fenómeno das Instant Messaging, tenham vindo a crescer as suas receitas. Para vocês perceberem um bocadinho a ordem de grandezas, enquanto que em Portugal este fenómeno não afetou de todas as contas das operadoras. Em Espanha, só neste ano já perderam 200 milhões de euros por causa deste fenómeno dos WhatsApps. Para acabar, deixar-vos aqui também com uma interrogação, um bocadinho para perceberem o que é que nós entendemos também o que é que vai acontecer, que é o fenómeno do 5G. Estamos vindo a subir ao longo dos anos, 1G, 2G, 3G, por aí. O 5G, o que é que ele nos vai dar? No fundo são promessas, porque o 4G também já nos dá muita coisa. Tráfego de capacidade e rede ilimitada, para podermos utilizar tudo aquilo que os meus anteriores colegas disseram, de forma rápida, eficiente e sem paragens. E ainda uma conectividade permanente, utilizando todo o tipo de espectro que nos oferecem. Tem ainda muitos problemas em termos de regulação, que terão de ser encarados. Nos Estados Unidos já se começa a falar disso. Ainda ontem a Ericsson anunciou o sucesso de uma utilização, portanto, um projeto piloto que fez no 5G, portanto, está a começar aí a aparecer. Mas, anteriormente, ainda devemos lidar com o fenómeno de 4G. Fruto também de uma sondagem, ou de um estudo que a Deloitte fez no ano passado, durante o ano passado, em vários países do mundo, nós conseguimos perceber aqui um fenómeno engraçado, que é as pessoas compram telemóveis com possibilidade de utilização de 4G, mas depois não compram o tarifário. Ou seja, enquanto que em Portugal é onde se nota também maior esse déficit, já vou mostrar um gráfico assim onde espelha muito mais, mas há aqui um atraso na entrada da tecnologia, por força também do plano de preços que têm, ou dos tarifários que possam ter e que são comercializados em cada país. Isto é o espelho, um bocadinho, do que é que se passa em Portugal, e que depois também existem vários fatores limitativos à adoção do 4G. Usamos muito o Wi-Fi, temos o 3G também já supre uma série das nossas necessidades. Nós não usamos tanto a internet como isso, não precisamos de descarregar tantos vídeos quanto isso. Precisamos de vez em quando, portanto não é um fenómeno constante. Mas este sim é um problema que as operadoras que têm venda direta de terminais terão de perceber. Porque conseguem vender os terminais, conseguem pô-los à venda, conseguem que os consumidores os comprem, mas depois também não conseguem tirar partido dos tarifários que dão, porque as pessoas também não compram os tarifários. Portanto, gostamos é de mostrar um bocadinho o telefone que temos em 4G e não usá-lo realmente. Em Portugal há um fenómeno engraçado, que é o Wi-Fi. Dentro deste estudo, que é o Global Mobile Consumer Survey, que convido-vos depois também a verem, está no nosso site da Deloitte. Portugal, somos aqueles que usam o Wi-Fi, somos aqueles que mais usam o Wi-Fi fora de casa, comparativamente com o resto dos países do mundo. Porquê? Não sei, não gostamos de gastar dinheiro, eventualmente, em internet, e por isso usamos nos Starbucks da vida, nos McDonald's, por aí. Por tudo isto, acreditamos também que o fenómeno do 5G estará aí para entrar. Não será de fácil adoção, porque o fenómeno 4G também ainda está a ser instalado. Isto são um bocadinho os big numbers que vos trago também para vocês perceberem o que é o 5G e o que é que ele permite. Portanto, o 4G já permite uma velocidade de 150 megas, o 5G já permite uma velocidade de 6.4. Aquela notícia que vos referi ainda há bocadinho da Ericsson, já testaram com sucesso 5 GB de velocidade através do móvel. Para concluir, também acho que o meu tempo também já está a acabar, em termos mundiais, o tipo e a forma de conectividade está realmente a mudar. Temos de facto de abordar o real problema do aumento de tráfego, o problema real das operadoras portuguesas. Portugal é realmente um early adopter de tendências. Todas aquelas que eu vos falei, cá em Portugal já praticamente todas ou já foram estudadas, já foram pensadas e muitas já foram implementadas. E estamos realmente preparados para estas mudanças de paradigmas constantes que a conectividade em todo lado nos dá. e se realmente as promessas de mais conectividade serão realmente úteis ou não. Muito obrigado.
Obrigado, João. Nós temos então aqui um espaço e estamos exemplarmente na hora certa, portanto, a não ser que eu esteja a ver mal o horário, e portanto temos aqui 15 minutos disponíveis entre o coffee break para aquelas questões que quiserem colocar. Eu penso que o assunto é bastante desafiante e, portanto, acho que há lugar a perguntas. Aliás, estivemos há pouco a apostar que alguns diziam que as assistências portuguesas normalmente não faziam perguntas e eu insistentemente dizia, não, nestes temas as pessoas vão fazer perguntas. E, portanto, espero que me ajudem. E, entretanto, só para criar um bocadinho de embalagem, eu queria já colocar algumas questões e pronto. E não se esqueçam de ir pensando nas vossas perguntas para eu não ter de ocupar os 15 minutos a fazer as minhas perguntas. About wearables, Mark, you spoke a little bit about wearables. João spoke a little bit about wearables. Do you think in the future we will be using 7 or 8 things at the same time in all pockets, or it will be a device that we use for everything?
Well, I think that no one actually knows the answer to that. I think the market is still evolving, and someone once said to me, someone asked a conference I was in once, who here has a 5-year business plan? And lots of hands went up. And he said, rip it up, have a 5-minute one. Because if you're in the process of reinventing yourselves, how can you reinvent yourselves when you know what you're going to do in 5 years' time? And so that's really the environment we're in. What I do say, and it was Deloitte who highlighted this to me, that the likes of the wearables and the Google Glass of this age, if you ask people would they want them, they'll say no probably. But it doesn't mean to say they won't be using them. And there's estimated something like 130 million wearable devices to be sold, estimated, by 2018, which Deloitte call this a mass niche. So it's a niche still, compared to, say, 1 billion smartphones that were sold last year. However, they will be enough to create an impact in the market. Again, it was Deloitte who asked in Canada, how many people would like a phablet or who will buy a phablet? And if you don't know what a phablet is, it's a cross between a phone and a tablet. It's something which is about a bigger size screen, which this sort of size, yeah. And would you want to be doing this on the phone and look an idiot, maybe? And people said, and the phrase they asked, one of the options they gave the audience was, yes, no, don't know. I would rather have my eyes pulled out by weasels. And guess what got the biggest response? Now, it sounds a joke, and if I asked everyone in this room today who would want one of these phones that look like this, you'd all say no. However, they are huge already in South Asia. And it's estimated by 2017 they will have about 25% of the total mobile device market. So again, it's this mass niche. So it's hard to say exactly where it's going to go, and we may still be using a range of different devices for different things, and people will use them for different things. But the world is changing fast, and we just need to keep abreast of all these various options that are available to us.
Thank you.
The biggest issue, I would just add that, the biggest issues I think going forward, the likes of glass and whatever, will be privacy. And there are no cases out there yet. There's been one case in America where someone's taken someone to court for wearing glasses in a car, not necessarily a privacy issue, but just wearing them, and they couldn't prove that she was using them while she was driving them, so the case was thrown out of court. And that's the only case around Google Glass that there is existing at this moment. But privacy will be a big issue. We've heard stories of people in San Francisco being attacked in a bar because they're wearing them, because people think I'm going to be recorded by you and I don't want that. I'm with my mistress, I don't want you to see me. Things such as that. Or screen size. Those two are the biggest issues, but it'll evolve the market as we go.
Thank you. Não sei se há perguntas. Acabo de ganhar a aposta.
Okay.
Obrigado.
One of the issues with with an uncertainty that you are studying is if you have a very big technology evolution, there's a lot of uncertainty. So I think for some companies, the best strategy will not be to be a leader in the mobile space, but to be a fast follower. So I want some comments on you on what should the strategy for some types of business and the others. Some will have to be leaders, some will have to be fast followers, or...
I'll let my friends answer for me, Huggy, but one thing I would say is that they say you should lead, follow, or get out the way.
I think our experience is a couple of companies who are members with us, and part of their philosophy is to actually lead, but what they are aware of is failure. So they're not set up for this, to do this, but they use the term fail fast, and you learn from that and then move on and adopt. So they'd rather take that position. And I think the other piece that maybe goes with that is that everything we've heard of today has significant implications around the organizational structure of companies. So that whether someone's leading or following, whether it's a project, whether it's a separate team, whether it's ingrained in the company, getting those results known and distributed around that company, around geographies within country and different countries, is really key. And a number of our members, we actually find the people that engage with us at the MMA are actually people who have sort of global or regional or centralized group roles, because they're trying to understand, learn, see what's coming, see the trends, apply that into their business, and then share that best practice in 100 countries, 50 countries, or wherever that might be. So we didn't really touch on that today, but I think that's if you're going to fail fast, and whatever you're doing, make sure you communicate around and within your company so that best practice can be rolled out quickly and efficiently.
And just to pick up on that, there's a key buzzword at the moment about being agile, having a startup mentality. And a lot of media companies I've seen across the world say, yeah, we're very agile these days. We like to think we are. Bollocks, they're not in any shape or form. They like to think they are, but having just been on a tour around Silicon Valley and been to the Googles and Yahoos and Facebooks of this world and Twitters, they have a true agile mentality. They fail fast and they move on. They don't be afraid to do that. And I think therefore there's nothing wrong with following if you're prepared to have that agile culture, but it has to come from the top down. If the CEO of the company doesn't buy into this, then you're just wasting your time. He has to be seen to be leading it, and that's a real key thing in terms of organizational change.
Eu acho que também que em termos de fenómeno que estamos a assistir é que também é um mercado que está a ditar as regras e não são tantas empresas. Há bocadinho também foi dito que, por exemplo, o Henry Ford, também quando lançou o Ford, o primeiro carro, quando perguntavam às pessoas o que elas queriam eram cavalos mais rápidos. Portanto, ele lançou o carro e foi o fenómeno que foi. Hoje em dia, os consumidores estão no mercado 24 horas por dia, praticamente parece que não dormem, e as empresas trabalham das 8 da manhã até às 8 da noite. E por isso também, no fim da semana, digamos assim, há ali um gap de 3 dias que as empresas não estão a acompanhar os consumidores, e por isso também, se não são ágeis no tratamento dos seus produtos e serviços e nas suas respostas, também muito rapidamente são ultrapassadas. Outro fenómeno também, temos grandes empresas que antes que dávamos como certas, por exemplo, que estão na Bolsa de Nova Iorque, daquelas das maiores 500, apenas 75 são da velha guarda. Portanto, e há muitas delas que morreram, desde as Kodaks da vida e por aí. Portanto, eu acho que se não formos rápidos, também, mesmo na estrutura empresarial, tudo passa a correr e não temos capacidade para não. Obrigado.
Penso que haverá mais perguntas. Eu só gostava de acrescentar aqui os moderadores devem falar o menos possível, mas eu acho que o mercado manda, mas nós podemos sugerir um bocadinho, e acho que é essa a missão dos inovadores e dos empreendedores, é acabarem por sugerir aquilo que o mercado vai querer. Aliás, estão aqui alguns diretores de marketing que sabem que o mercado manda, mas nós podemos dizer-lhe o que é que ele há de mandar, ou pelo menos sugerir. Isto não é muito politicamente correto por vezes, mas acaba por ser o que está na base da inovação. E neste mercado, a liderança, eu acho que há muito espaço para ser líder, porque as ideias são tantas que, se não somos líder na nossa classe, escolhemos outra, não é? A tal regra. Não sei se há mais questões. Eu tenho uma questão aqui para o Cris. I don't know, you spoke about the 16% of market share for the mobile marketing. It makes sense to speak on market share for mobile, or it's better to speak about market share for digital? Because we are speaking that the mobile, the devices are getting just one, or you are using just one device. It makes sense to speak on mobile for a marketeer.
Yeah. Well, I think it does at the moment, hence why we're doing it. But I think what we see is that in terms of media planning, there is a process that a lot of agencies follow about in which media channel they're going to spend or break out their budget. And currently, mobile isn't maybe at the beginning of that. It's at some stage in that process. And so in order to try to give marketeers and media agencies the opportunity to understand how large or what that optimum share would be, that's why we've looked at the mobile piece within that. So I think and I would just say on that, although I used that example there, which was AT&T, it was a real live example. Yeah. We are, as I said, conducting other studies, and some of our members with the MMA will actually talk about they're already investing significantly more in their mobile channels, especially if they're an e-commerce or m-commerce performance player, because, as Mark mentioned, they can analyze the data that comes from that interaction, and they can look at things like lifetime value or cost per action, and on the basis that they will see the return for further investment, they continue to invest. So I think what we wanted to do was to start the debate really about, which we've started here, about what share should mobile as a media channel be getting, and it will change by sector. But from what we talked about, I think in this last hour and a half, as the devices, the wearables, as the channels change, I think there will be a blurring of what's advertising, what's marketing, what's promotion. And actually, if you've got something that you can wear and touch and feel, and it's on 24/7, and whether it's to get you to a shop for a promotion, or whether it's a text, all of those channels will be relevant and will deliver a return. But actually, using them as mobile advertising may be actually a defunct word. That make sense?
Yeah. Thank you. Temos 5 minutos. Mais uma pergunta ali.
Well, hello. I would like to set a question for all the panel. And it starts with a phrase, which is "video killed the radio stars." Why am I saying this? As consultants, we're supposed to advise our clients to gain competitive advantage over competition, right? But the business cycles are getting shorter and shorter. We all been hearing this and this was transversal to all the presentations. Describing the process of destructive creativity, right? Destructive creation, creativity. How does it Schumpeter call? Doesn't matter. Of creative destruction. That was the term. 5G against 4G, 4G against 3G, or mobile versus desktop advertising. So I would answer. I would question this. How do you advise any firm to sustain a competitive advantage on mobile advertising? Because it's easy to gain the first bump when the opportunity arises, but it's very difficult to keep it along the way. And thank you. That would be my question.
I think that the word you use there, creativity, is the word. You saw the example from Guatemala. It's a really good creative example of using mobile. And I think what we need to do is using the data we have about our audiences, knowing what turns them on and what context they're consuming our content, how we serve them relevant content on the right time, at the right place, on the right platform. There's a really good example I can give you. It's one of the pizza companies in the States. It could have been, I think it's Domino's. And what they've done is online, and they've just transferred it to tablet. They've done, so what happens if you order a pizza, up to a few months ago, if you order a pizza in the States, you call the number, you order your pepperoni pizza, and they say it'll be delivered in 20 minutes. And you put the phone down, 20 minutes later, bing bong, your pizza's arrived. That's it. Now, what they've done to change the experience, and that's what it's about, the customer experience and all this, they've actually created a progress bar. And the progress bar appears across your screen, and it shows, it goes in real time across the screen. So it shows ordering of pizza, then it goes to Juan is putting your topping on. It's now going to the preparation on the slab. It's now going in the oven. It now goes into the oven. It now goes on the bike, and a transponder on the bike tells you in real time where it's up to in terms of your delivery. And when it gets to the end of the bar, bing bong, there's your pizza. Now that sounds like a load of rubbish, but the reason why it's brilliant is because what they're now doing is putting contextual advertising and content around that progress bar. Because what it means is people get a 20-minute experience with the brand rather than just a 2-minute one on a phone call. And that's a really clever idea and a clever way of actually engaging people using creativity and creating a USP.
So my just very quick answer, because I'm conscious of time, is actually know your customer and know your potential customer. If you know them really, really well and your potential new customers, I think you're competitive and work with them, then that will give you competitive advantage. It comes again back to data and understanding of which creativity and experience will then feed in.
Na minha opinião, bocadinho acrescentando aquilo que foi dito, eu acho que também tem tudo a ver com a experiência do consumidor e do cliente. Um simples SMS recebido no telefone a anunciar uma campanha já não chega, porque já continuamos a ser bombardeados por isso. Mas, por exemplo, existe um fenómeno que vai começar aí a aparecer, que é, estamos na rua a passear e passamos por uma montra, por exemplo, todos os dias, ou 2 em 2 dias, ou 3 em 3 dias, a caminho do escritório, e essa loja tem uma máquina que, no fundo, detecta o SIM card do teu telefone. E tu vais passando por essa loja todos os dias e ele vai-te reconhecendo. Se por acaso, porventura, parares nessa montra para ver qualquer coisa que esteja exposto, ele reconhece-te e pergunta-se também se queres entrar e faz-te eventualmente um desconto. Portanto, tem tudo a ver com a experiência do cliente e do consumidor e não tanto com, no fundo, com as sugestões que os diretores de marketing possam fazer.
Mais uma pergunta? Estamos em cima da hora.
Okay, I'll be fast. My question goes about profiling. I mean, for the first time we have devices that know where we go, what we have, what we do. So, I mean, the big data that is being constructed about it and can actually profile. In my opinion, marketing will be more and more dedicated. I mean, knowing exactly what you want, what you pretend. But that also means that the companies that will have that will be the very big companies, because it's going to be very hard to compete to actually accumulate all that knowledge. My question is, am I wrong? What do you feel about it? For instance, I know today that it's very difficult, especially with the big guys, the Amazons and the Googles. They are not exchanging it's not being as easy to go and get data because of competition. Are we creating exclusive internets where all this data goes through? Or how is the democracy of the net being? And how can we all share the experience of the consumers?
Okay, I think the data or the profiling is open to all. I mean, I think whether you're a startup company or a well-established company, I don't believe there's any reason why getting data and using data should be only the sort of purview of larger companies. That being said, I think as Mark put in his presentation, there's first-party data and data that you can purchase. So obviously, you may need deep pockets if you need to purchase some data. So I think again, it comes down really to the knowing your customer and getting that information from the customer through their journey and their experience, and making sure that that data comes into your organisation, and that there are people looking at that data and that profile that can then disseminate it within the organisation in order to then put out messages and advertising and promotions and the like. I still think the principles are there, whether you're a start-up or whether you're a, as I say, more traditional established company.
Pronto, nós estamos em cima do tempo, portanto vamos terminar por aqui. Obviamente que havia alguns temas que ainda poderiam ser falados e alguns que não foram falados, como por exemplo os mobile payments, que eu penso que têm uma influência muito grande no desenvolvimento também da mobilidade e que têm alguns contratempos em termos de modelo de negócio. E sugerir que de facto esta área da mobilidade é muito rica, porque nós temos tendência para falar na inovação sempre naquilo que são as últimas tecnologias e tudo isso, mas temos de reparar que o grande motor disto acaba por ser as áreas do mundo se calhar menos beneficiadas, a África, a Ásia, etc., que são os grandes motores em termos de negócio para se criar a inovação neste lado, mas também são os grandes beneficiados porque passam a ter de forma fácil, passam a comunicar com o mundo e ter as informações do mundo. Portanto, estamos aqui num setor que até em termos de tanto inovação como evolução do mundo é muito importante. Eu agradeço a vossa atenção e espero que o painel tenha correspondido às vossas expectativas. Obrigado.